So at this session, we will look at the column view, which is the best view for navigations within the macOS 10. Now, first of all, we'll select the column view option, which is the third view button within the views option within my Finder window. And secondly, we'll select the Macintosh HD, as the column view can be used to view the files as well as the folder structure of the machine itself. So from all my files, we simply select the Macintosh HD. Now, the 5 folders that appear within the Macintosh HD are actually the folders or the initial folders that is found within my root directory or my main directory, which is based on the Macintosh HD. So first of all, if we look carefully on these folders, we will see that there are small little engravements on these folders, which means that they are system folders and they cannot be deleted, as if they will be deleted, the Mac will simply give an error message. As demonstrated, if I drag the applications folder to the trash, it will simply tell me that it cannot be modified, deleted because required by the Mac OS X. So these folders will never be able to be deleted. Now, to start off, our applications folder contains all of our applications. Some of these apps, if not most of them, the shortcuts of them are located on the dock. Any of these applications are removed from the dock by simply doing a secondary click on the application, going to options and remove. It has removed my contacts. However, I can simply get that application back by going back into my applications folder, and from my applications folder I can simply go into my contacts, as it is in alphabetical order when it's in column view, and simply drag that application from my applications folder into my dock. I can also use Spotlight search to find these applications and simply drag it to the dock. However, the application is only available from the Spotlight search if it is located within my applications folder. So in other words, I can simply go to my Spotlight search, type in Mission Control, which we used earlier on. I can simply drag it straight from here into my dock, or I could simply have gone into my Macintosh HD, click on applications, and further down within my applications, I will have that same application which I could drag also into my dock. Now, if I should delete this application from my applications folder, the shortcut on the dock will simply lose the link towards the original one, which is located within the applications. So it doesn't mean that if it's located on the dock, I don't need the actual application in the applications folder, as the shortcut on the dock is simply just a shortcut and not the actual application. If I should scroll further down within my applications folder, I will end up on a folder called utilities. Now if I click on utilities, I will be able to access my utilities or certain utilities within the Mac OS 10. This time around, I'll single click on my disk utilities. After single clicking on the disk utilities, if I look on my path bar, I can see that it gives me the path in terms of what I clicked on to get until I got to the point of disk utility. So as I look carefully, I started with Macintosh HD, which is indicated in blue, and then I clicked on applications folder, which is then a dull gray, and then further on I clicked on utilities, which says utilities, and then lastly I clicked on the disk utilities. Now if I should have moved or switched over to the icon view and I was without the path bar, I wouldn't know where I've started and where I've ended. However, my path bar indicates to me exactly where I'm busy at, even though I'm not in a specific view where I can see where I started to where I've ended, like the column view. However, this time around, I'll switch back to my column view, which then gives me a visual description of where I started to where I've ended. Now this time around, I'll double click on my disk utility, as my disk utility is the application where I can do some user maintenance on the drive of the, as I can do user maintenance on the hard drive of the machine. So while I'm busy within the machine, I can simply select the Macintosh HD, and within my Macintosh HD, I get 4 window buttons or 4 tab buttons available for me to select. The first one being my first aid gives me the possibility to do a repair disk permissions as well as a verify disk permissions. Now I can simply do a disk repair, which will then scan through the drive and simply repair all the default permissions within that hard drive. It will also indicate this information as a tooltip text. If I should move my mouse pointer over the repair disk permission, it says set the correct permissions for Apple installed files as well as folders, and that's basically relating to all the system files and folders. I can also format certain external hard drives within my disk utility by selecting the erase option, and I can erase a disk. Now the option that I am selecting this time around is the Windows Mac drive, which is an external hard drive which was plugged into the Mac, and now I can simply go into the erase option and reformat this drive into the format of my choosing. Note, there are various formats that I can select for the hard drive, but depends on whichever other machine it's going to be plugged into. In other words, if I select the Mac OS X extended journaled, I could only operate it within a Mac environment. If this external drive should be plugged into a Windows machine, it will not be able to read the data. The next option is the MS-DOS FAT can be read on both the Mac and a PC or a Windows machine. However, it can only copy information or a single file size up to 4 gigabytes. Next option is exFAT, which can be accessed via Mac and PC. File size have no limit on it whatsoever. However, can only be used on a Windows 8 machine or from a Mac OS 10.6 machine, also known as Snow Leopard. Now after selecting the format, I can simply click on erase, and that will format that particular external hard drive to the format of our choosing. So that is the disk utility, which we can utilize for doing minor user maintenance as well as reformatting certain external storage devices. So we can simply close down our disk utility. Moving forward, we can also utilize our column view for navigating within our user folder. Now if I go to my users folder, and as we have noticed, the only 2 folders we will access directly will be the applications folder as well as the users folder. The library and system file is all system related files, which is more used or more accessed through different applications, or can be utilized within a technical aspect of the files and system folders within the Mac. So on my users folder, I will select the house icon, which is the actual user folder, which is the user who is logged in, and within that user there are 7 different folders, all also with engravements on it, which means that these folders cannot be deleted. This time around, I can select any of these folders and insert any of my documents within those folders. So now if I should select the documents folder, it will show me all of my documents that I've worked with. My downloads will contain all downloads. Movies will contain all movies that were done within an application, such as iMovie or Final Cut or even Camtasia, which I'm currently using, as well as the music will contain all music built in, all music that was imported through or within iTunes. The pictures will contain the photos libraries, whether it is from iPhoto or any third-party photo application, and public will basically be files that was transferred from another machine from the server. So now I've got my column view, and I can now insert folders within my user folder. So if I go to my desktop, I can simply create a folder within the column of my desktop. Now this desktop folder also refers to the desktop on the front. Now if I should two fingers click or secondary click or right click on the mouse on the desktop, I can select new folder, and this time around I'll give this folder a name called test1. After selecting that folder, we'll see that in the column the same folder has also now appeared. Why? Because this desktop folder is actually the back end of the actual desktop. So if I should decide to delete the folder test1 from my desktop folder within my Finder, we will see that the desktop folder have also now disappeared, and it is exactly the same folder. So now for me to clear the trash, I can simply hold down on the trash and empty trash. And now that folder has been deleted. If I should have created a folder within my documents folder or any other folder, I could make it a shortcut by just dragging that specific folder to the sidebar, and that will insert or create a shortcut towards of that specific projects folder. If I should select this project folder, for us to know that that project folder comes exactly from that destination which I previously looked at, we can simply look to the path bar and it will say exactly where that project folder came from, which is the Macintosh HT in the users. Under the user folder, under documents, there was a project folder, and that was the project folder that we have now created a shortcut of. The path bar can also be used as a navigational tool, as it's not only there to show us where the stuff is located, but we can also backtrack our way back to the initial path or to any folder within that path. So ultimately we could use our column view to navigate our way throughout our applications folder towards our utilities folder, and drag certain applications back to the dock which is needed, which was maybe removed previously, as well as access our users folder, our user icon, and from our user we can then create shortcuts within our sidebar, or even create shortcuts within our dock, which is then called stacks. And these stacks is then shortcuts of the folders which is sitting on the dock. So as a new stack, I can simply drag the documents folder down, and it created a new stack of the documents folder.